Season number 2 of my F1 24 Lewis Hamilton career mode is officially here. This is going to be the pre-season episode or the prologue for the new season upcoming, and this is going to be the final time you see Hamilton dressed up in Mercedes race suit, Mercedes overall, Mercedes colours, as we're going to be changing things for season 2. Now the contract event is coming up. Which team is going to offer themselves? We're going to find out in just a little bit. In the meantime, guys, the previous episode, the finale in Abu Dhabi, will be linked in the top right. Go watch it. Big spoiler warnings ahead, so if you want to catch up, now is your chance. And also all the episodes in season 1 in the playlist down below. In the meantime, this is the fallout from the last race. Now, we won our championship rivalry versus Max Verstappen. However, the game has given us Verstappen again for the first time as a rating rival, which we'll get into in just a little bit, but different concepts, teammate rivalry, rating rivalry, and championship rivalry. In terms of recognition, we now have a 55-45 split, a 10% difference over George Russell in Mercedes, so we really have, governance, or we own that team in terms of, where we decide where upgrades go. Here are the final statistics for the season: 13 wins, 13 poles, a really good conversion rate, and of course those 2 championships, starting off with the Constructors title, which of course myself and George picked up. Mercedes 9th title in the hybrid era since 2014, and of course driver title number 8, finally without controversy, for Sir Lewis Hamilton.
It seems as if you have a new rival. This is the perfect opportunity to show the world why you belong in this sport, and to show me why you belong amongst my very exclusive clientele. That's a joke. I love working with you.
Now, in the past, we've had teammate rivalry, and we've also had championship rivalry. Now, we've won our championship rivalry with Verstappen at the end of last season, but we now have a new driver rating rivalry. Before it was with Alonso, and now it's with Max, and there's 4 recognition points to win. In other words, the first driver who gets to basically 100 or 99, maxed out, is going to be the driver rating or recognition winner. So on screen you can see the different stats of different drivers. Myself versus Max, or Lewis versus Max more like, in terms of how we stack up. Max currently has a 1 point overall or rating advantage, and we'll see how that progresses. You can see our kind of contract review. We really started to pick things up at the end, and we got so good hitting goals, hitting accolades, and generally outperforming our target of 91 rating at the start of the season. So a really good year. We also hit 3 of the 5 accolades: race starts, fastest laps, and championship wins, which are now all in tier 2. So only pole positions and race wins remain. We still got 13 each of those last season, so we did a really good job of getting really close on those as well. So honestly, just really awesome. Those accolades really give a huge boost to performance. Now, what we are going to do is actually leave Mercedes with a parting gift. We're going to basically stay professional and purchase an improvement on the chassis for the energy store cell, and that's going to reduce the weight of that part of the car, and basically leave them with a thank you gift, and kind of hoping that they still kind of improve during the off season. But now we arrive at the contract event. Now 4 teams offered us a contract: Alpine, Ferrari, Mercedes, and Aston Martin. The other 6 teams simply not interested in that 8-time world champion. Now on the Ferrari badge you can see a little yellow icon, and that's because we've had secret meetings and we have that information available to us. Now we of course have already seen this during those secret meetings, but confirmation Ferrari are a little bit behind on upgrades. Success rate about the same. In terms of the contract, we would get a 56% recognition split over Charles Leclerc, which is insane. So we are going to go ahead and get into negotiations with Ferrari. So as you can see, meeting our PR agent, getting down to the business end of the contract talks, and getting them to hopefully sign a deal. Now the question is, what do we want? Now I'm going to set the driver rating to the maximum possible, which is 98. We did a really good first season, and we outperformed our rating massively. And I thought about this, but I'm actually going to copy Lewis's real life deal with Ferrari, and we are going to sign a 2-year deal with the Scuderia for the season upcoming and the one after that in 2026. So with that done, you can see we're going to have a 57% recognition split with a 2-year contract. We're going to sign it, and we are officially a Ferrari driver. Like in real life, it's going to be Lewis Hamilton and Charles Leclerc piloting the 2025 Prancing Horse. Now with that, we arrive finally at the end of season number 1, and thus we say farewell to Mercedes for an incredible 11 years. Absolutely insane. Really just breaking every record in the book and, you know, becoming that 8-time world champion with the team. So we're going to zone out, phase out of season 1 and prepare for season 2. Before that, we're going to talk about the calendar for this season. Now, I've taken some drastic change, and you can see here we're going to go for 16 rounds for this season, and I've taken out a few surprises, but also I've done it for a reason. So the first thing, I wanted to cut down on the amount of sprint races because I find them very long to do, and also they're a bit of a spoiler in terms of what's going to happen in the race or in qualifying, because you kind of get a spoiler in sprint shootout and in the sprint race. So we've taken out a selection of sprints. Qatar, Las Vegas are out of the calendar, and so is Miami. We've actually kept 3 sprints, so China, we've also kept Brazil, and I believe the other one is Austria. So we've kind of kept a bit of a mix. Also, I wanted to get rid of some easier tracks where we've had some really easy results, like Jeddah, you know, Hungary, pretty easy circuits for us. Also, I found, you know, Qatar, Las Vegas were pretty easy as well. And then Mexico, I've never really been a big fan of. We also had a pretty straightforward race there as well. Singapore, I find the racing isn't great, so I wanted to get rid of it. Baku, I'm not a fan of. And then I wanted to keep some tracks where we've either had some challenge or had some good racing. So Bahrain, the hardest track we had last season, is still on the calendar. And then also other events which I thought were tricky, like Monza as well, are still on there. And we're also bringing back Portimao, the penultimate round of the season, which should be interesting. So guys, let me know your thoughts on the calendar down below. And yeah, I think it's going to work pretty damn well. Now with that, we return to the office after the off-season. Batteries recharge. You can see that bit of red in the background, and yes, it is that time. Sir Lewis Hamilton is fully kitted out in red gear, and you can see for the first time Lewis in a Ferrari race suit. We arrive 14th of February, we have the new season grid reveal, and then of course Bahrain, the first race in 14 days time. So let's kind of go through the admin work and go through, you know, some updates during the off season and some big changes. Now we're going to start off with one of the big ones, and that of course is going to be the car. Now as you guys know, in the recent patch the livery got updated, so they've now actually brought in the HP and the kind of white and the blue on the car. So it's almost like a livery update. I was going to make maybe a small livery tweak for Ferrari, but this alone kind of works for me, and this kind of white and blue is growing on me on the Ferrari car, to be honest with you. So I'm looking forward to driving this. I think it looks really, really nice, and I can't wait to see, you know, this car with Lewis's yellow helmet. Now in the meantime, we have some big news. Driver moves from the off season. We triggered a chain reaction, and basically there was a swap. Lewis to Ferrari, meaning Sainz, moved to Mercedes. Much like in real life, you know, where is Sainz going to land for 2025? In this career mode, Sainz has fallen at Mercedes. And in the meantime, Magnussen has been fired from Haas, Tsunoda's taken his spot, and then VCARB have called up Théo Pourchaire, who of course recently lost his job in McLaren in real life in IndyCar. So a lot happening, and really, really insane how this is all panning out. In the meantime, we have this new feature, and it's going to be the scenario for Season 2. Now, admittedly, a lot of these are blocked or locked out for future seasons. So for this one, we have high inflation, powertrain only, aero only, chassis only, or durability only. You can see on screen what each one is. Now, I was tempted by these because it could make things quite spicy, but we did have a reg change on the aero, which basically, you know, might have wiped out upgrades for us. We don't even know if Ferrari have protected those upgrades yet. So for this one, I'm going to kind of keep things in tune with real life and kind of inflation in real life, and basically apply high inflation to Season 2, basically making upgrades really, really, really expensive, and they're going to be valuable when they arrive. So we have to make sure they don't foul, and hopefully we invest our points correctly. Now, we have our first look at the R&D tree with Ferrari, and they've only got 4 upgrades on the aero, so I don't think they've protected a lot, to be honest with you. I'm also looking at the pricing, because we've now applied that scenario, and they're all so expensive, so we're going to have to really grind those practice programs, get those discounts, and hopefully, try and get those upgrades for a more affordable price. Now, with that done, we've kind of browsed over them. I don't have anywhere near enough R&D points. I didn't realize, had we not spent our R&D points on the upgrade for Mercedes at the end of last season, I believe they would have carried over, so we would have actually had points to buy an upgrade. So, lesson for you guys, if you have R&D points at the end of the season and you're going to switch teams, don't spend it, because you can actually carry that over to your future team. The resource points go with the driver, not with the team. So, arriving at Bahrain, you can see in the meantime, as I expected, Ferrari only had 4 error upgrades on the car. They've basically lost everything. Like, literally, we're 5th like last season, but it feels like the drop has been massive. Mercedes take a big leap forward, of course, in our absence. McLaren, Red Bull up there as well, and we are just behind Aston Martin. The gap between Formula A, Formula B still exists, and of course Alpine and VCarb a bit further down. So we'll see what happens. We'll get an updated graph for Bahrain, because that will change, because I'm sure some teams may have put some upgrades on in the off-season. But 5th best for us, and we'll see how Bahrain goes. Anyway, with that done, we're going to stop the rambling and we're going to get into the new season grid reveal. Of course, Lewis in red, Sainz in silver, Paul Chair, Sonoda. Let's have a look and see how everything looks. Also, spot the new helmet. Your first look at Scuderia Ferrari HP for the 2025 season, piloted by Charles Leclerc and Sir Lewis Hamilton, and you can see the new helmet in full effect. I want to give a special shout out to Riachus for making the renders of this, and you can see I've basically kept the essence of Lewis's 24 helmet, but I've actually used his 2022 design to make a few changes. And basically the big one, I wanted more yellow to kind of make the helmet pop a little bit in that contrast versus, the red car. Especially, from the top and side view, the helmet looks really, really yellow. From the front and back, it's a bit more kind of purpley bluish, but I love the contrast. But from the top, last season it was purple, this season it's yellow. I've made some other changes, of course, adding the extra star, so there's now 8 stars on the helmet. And yeah, generally very small tweaks, refinements, also updating sponsors. The visor strip is temporary, that's not the final version, because the helmet model isn't up to date. Of course, with the new patch the other day, there's been a slight change, but generally this is it, and it looks absolutely beautiful, and I actually really like how it turned out. So I'll leave Riachus' links down below, guys. He made these renders and the helmet looks beautiful, and yeah, overall I can't wait. Now with that ready, let's get into specialist, because this is something that we have to work on. Now, just like R&D points, specialists have actually carried over from last season, so we're already level 3 maxed out on manufacturing, and the goals we've been given are actually pretty difficult. So this is a bit of an experiment. I'm going to go and complete 4 sessions without damaging your car, but I don't know what there is to gain from it. So we'll see if there's actually any benefit at all. In the meantime, Power Unit Consultant is still level 1, so we're going to reach a top speed target to hopefully get some more level up on that aspect. Material Fabrication Planner, we're going to perform 350 gear shifts, very easy. And then Strategy Analyst, for this one we're going to go for earn 12 championship points during a race weekend. Also, level 2, one more level to go, and we increase our practice program resource point awards to 100%, which is a huge bonus. So this is going to help us a lot, especially in this season with the high inflation. Our specialists are so high level that we're going to really benefit. Now, guys, that is going to be it for the prologue of Season 2. The next episode, tomorrow hopefully, will be round 1 at Bahrain, the first race. We massively struggled here last season, so I'm keen to see how we get on with the proper setup and now kind of knowing how the game works. And of course, we drove Bahrain last season with the previous handling model, so there's going to be a lot of changes, and we'll see how it all pans out, guys. In the meantime, Hopefully you enjoyed the prologue, hopefully you liked the helmet and the look of everything in this one. Like the video and subscribe for the start of Season 2, 16 rounds, and we're going to chase title number 9 and the first with Ferrari. And yeah guys, cheers for watching. As always, a big shout out to the members of the channel guys for supporting. Thank you guys so much all the time in the comments. I really do appreciate it. As always, check the links down below, also the videos on screen. And yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow or the day after for the season opener in Bahrain. Adios.